Hello, I am Jamie Buckland with the West Virginia FEW Families United for Education, and I am talking today with my friend Ryan from KaiPod Learning. Ryan, thanks for coming on. I'm excited for you to share. So why don't we start out by you just telling us a little bit about yourself and how you got started with KaiPod?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Ryan Holmes. I'm KaiPod's Chief Academic Officer. So that just means I'm responsible for our programming and the service that we're providing to students and families. Have actually spent most of my career in a traditional school setting. So I was a math teacher for a really long time. And in my latest role, I was the director for curriculum and instruction for math and science at a charter school in Boston. And I really just became interested in homeschooling. I was tutoring a student who was homeschooling and just loved the time that I was able to spend with her. And so started like having that become more and more of what I was up to. And I met Umar basically a year and a half ago, and he was launching KaiPod. And I was really excited by his vision and his mission, and took a role with him, and have been thrilled to be working in that capacity ever since.
And here you are. So tell us, what is the elevator speech? What's the best description for what KaiPod does?
Sure. So KaiPod is a supplement for students who are homeschooling or attending an online virtual program. We provide a physical space for kids to come, and we staff the space with an experienced educator who is responsible for forming a very close relationship with students and families, and being a trusted person that families feel great about dropping their kids off with. They're responsible for creating a safe and harmonious social environment where kids can kind of hang out, have fun together. We fill the place up with board games and art supplies and puzzles, and give kids plenty of opportunities to interact socially. And then they are also there as an academic support. So if a student is enrolled in an online school, for example, and they're stuck in a math problem, most of the time the reaction of a sixth and seventh grader is not to immediately email their teacher and say, I'm really stuck in this math problem. Can we schedule time to go over that?
Yeah,
At least that's not the response of an
right.
average sixth or seventh grader. So the learning coach is there to sort of say, like, I might be able to help with this math problem. And if I can't, then I'm going to support you in reaching out to your teacher and finding time and scheduling time with them, or whatever education plan the family has. We're huge proponents of curriculum choice, and letting parents choose what they think is best for their students. And so if that is, making sure that they're showing up to their online classes, or if it's just, hey, my student is working through the good and the beautiful or some other curriculum that we have picked out for them, just make sure that they have time and space to complete that work. And, if you have an opportunity to kind of like go over that with them, that's really helpful. Like it's really sort of the academic support is really kind of a collaborative effort with the families around what they want, what they find the most useful.
Yeah. And where did you guys start? Where was the first KaiPod Learning Center launched?
Yeah, so the very first one was actually in Newton, Massachusetts, which is a suburb of Boston. And that still is in operation. And our first learning coach was Kim Brown, who is amazing, and has really helped us launch. We also have now a space in Roswell, Georgia. And then we have 6 pods in the Phoenix area in Arizona, and 4 in the state of New Hampshire, two in Manchester, New Hampshire, and 2 in Dover, New Hampshire. So yeah.
And so who would you say, are you guys serving students that are K-12?
I think right now we're working with kids who are 3rd grade or above, so 3 through 12th grade. Part of the reason for that, and we are, that may change. We may end up serving some younger students at some point soon. But part of the rationale for that is there is a degree of independence that a kid needs to have if they're going to come to a KaiPod. They sort of need to be able to work through academic content on their own. There's 3, depending on the age of the kid, there's usually at least 3 hours during the day that we carve out specifically for academic time. And so what that looks like, again, it kind of depends on what the kid is doing. If they're, enrolling in an online school, then they're going to their online classes and completing the assignments that the online school is giving them during that time. If they're homeschooling, it's, they're working through the content that the parents or the family has provided for us. And so, and there certainly is a degree of support that the kids get, executive functioning support. And, some kids like having timers in front of them. Some kids like having an isolated spot. there's all those types of considerations that we take into place, but it's not a situation where a learning coach can just sit down with a student and one-on-one work with them for 3 hours, because there's,
Right.
depending on the pod, there's a number of other students there who are also need some degree of support as well. So you have to be somewhat self-sufficient and able to read to some degree in order to be successful in the model that we currently have.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's third grade or higher.
Okay. And so tell us a little bit about the, like how many students are assigned to a learning coach? Like what does that look like for them? Are there certain hours? Of course, it's a drop off kind of setting. So kind of what does that look like for a KaiPod Learning Center?
Yeah. And it depends because, right now at a KaiPod, the most that a student would, any one learning coach would have to work with is 10 to 12 students.
Okay.
That's the absolute most. A lot of times it just depends on the day. Like we have 2 and 3 day programs. We have 5-day programs for students. So, a kid could show up and there's 6 or 7 other students there. Or again, if it's completely full that day, most pods, when they're completely full, means a 1 to 10 ratio. And then, yeah.
And so what would you say if somebody in West Virginia is watching this and thinking about connecting with KaiPod? What would you say to them? Like, where should they go to learn more? Is there a website or a platform for calling into customer care? What's the best way to get more familiar with what KaiPod is offering?
Yeah, so the easiest thing to do is to go to our website, which is kaipodlearning.com. You can follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and that's at KaiPod Co. And I guess I should spell Kai, so it's KAIPOD. That's KaiPod. And so KaiPod CO is what is the handle that we use in all of our different social media. And kaipodlearning.com is the website. And so, yeah, if you're interested in enrolling a student in a KaiPod, definitely reach out. We are very, we're very customer centric. And if we have a lot of interest in any given area, we're excited to consider expanding into those places. And we just really want to know about what's happening on the ground in places like West Virginia. And so we're excited to kind of talk to anybody who would potentially be interested in a KaiPod. I would also say if you're interested in launching your own sort of like little pod and doing this work as a learning coach, which is what we call the adults who lead these pods, there's an opportunity that we have with Catalyst that you should check out as well. So KaiPod Catalyst, if you Google that, or if you go to our site and poke around for Catalyst, we are currently considering applications to help launch microschools that are similar to what KaiPod is offering right now.
Yeah, because that's part of the landscape right now are just the barriers for anybody who may have an idea. And so what KaiPod is offering with Catalyst is the opportunity to partner with you guys. You've kind of already been through this. So you're able to offer some mentorship and some guidance for those educational entrepreneurs who are looking to launch something like this in their community.
Yeah, exactly. So we've kind of recognized that given the amount of interest that there is out there, we're not going to be able to open enough KaiPods to serve all of the different regions and areas and families that are excited. So we want to be able to support local entrepreneurs who want to open a micro school and especially if they kind of have a similar vision for what their micro school could look like as to what KaiPod has. Yeah, we're running a fellowship program to help get micro schools like that launched for the fall of 2023. And there's been a ton of interest in that, and I've had a chance to sit down with some of the candidates who are applying, and it's been really great. And people are super excited about this movement, and I couldn't be more thrilled.
Yeah. And so looking forward to this, you guys aren't currently in West Virginia, but if anybody is interested in starting something in West Virginia, whether that's a micro school or a learning pod or learning center with KaiPod, they can go to the website to look for more information. We'll drop all of that in the comments as well. And lastly, I do want to thank KaiPod. You guys are sponsoring our school fair that's coming up on the 21st. And so we're excited that you guys have chosen to partner with the FEW to sponsor that school fair. We have, I think, a waiting list now with 50 exhibitors that are going to be there. And so if anybody has questions about KaiPod, you can find one of us there at the school fair on January 21st. And we'll be happy to connect you with Ryan and Amar from the KaiPod team. Ryan, thanks so much for coming on today and sharing with me. Like I said, we will fill up the comments with all the information to make sure to direct traffic your way.
Yeah, absolutely. Jamie, thank you for everything you're doing. We're huge fans of what you guys are up to in West Virginia and Families United for Education. And so, yeah, thanks for your grassroots work.
Thank you.
And, yeah.
All right. Well, everybody have a great Monday afternoon. Thanks so much, Ryan. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Jamie. Talk to you later.